IVM.
There's a quick survey to fill out on ivmpodcast.com/survey. It lets us know a little bit more about who's listening to us. And you know what? We're going to do a few prizes. So, we'll do a random drawing of maybe 10 people and we'll send you all some swag. Remember, that's ivmpodcast.com/survey where you can fill out the survey. Do you often dream about leading a more creative life? Whether you wanted to be a painter, a dancer, a cricketer, or a photographer. Maybe you wanted to play games for a living. Growing up, financial responsibilities often take us away from our true passions. Now imagine if you could explore that creativity while still making sure that your family is financially secure. Find a way for the artist and the realist within us to coexist. Karo pure apne irade, apno se kiye sabhi waade. SBI Life apne liye, apno ke liye. To know more about our insurance plans with wealth creation, log on to www.sbilife.co.in. IRDAI registration number 111.
Hello and welcome to the Habit Coach podcast. I am Ashdin Doctor, your habit coach, and today with us we have Priyanka Acharya. Now this is part 2 of the episode. So if you haven't heard part 1, please go make sure you listen to that because we are talking about understanding finances, especially for women. Now what's interesting is that this podcast is actually important for both men and women and the entire family because we discuss some very essential, fundamental habits that you can start creating for your better financial health. Enjoy. So an important aspect of it is understanding that, when you're talking about financial security, when you're talking about almost having that cushion, you're not operating from a place of fear. Many times we operate from a sense of fear when it comes to our finances. What if it will get stolen, lost, right? What if it will be a negative? What if I don't have money in the future? And we're constantly operating from that position. So as a result, we can never think of what we can earn through it or what are the opportunities. We're only looking at loss mitigation. Is that something that you also notice?
Absolutely. In fact, my father, I'm very, very fortunate to get these small life lessons from him because my father used to say something which is a very bonded statement that I have today with me. So he used to say that earning money is easy and spending money is easier than that. But the entire art and science and commerce of it is in managing the money. So are you really managing or you are just, after earning the money? So we call this passive income these days. We say passive income hona chahiye. So active income is while we are working and we are putting all our energy into this and, a lot of things we are doing to pursue our ambitions. But with passive income, it becomes a very passive way of doing it. We are not ambitious. So we would look out for somebody where we can outsource this. We'll say that, you take care of this. So I'll pay this much every month. Do that, ECS transaction, auto debit and all. And, I've set that bank, setting and all is done. So amount will go away. Mujhe pata hi nahi chalega. And then, I'll get some money at the end of it. So when we are not giving time and attention to a child, if the child's development doesn't happen nicely, when we are not giving enough time and attention to our human anatomy, so we are falling ill. So obviously same thing goes with our finances.
How much time and effort should you be spending on your finances a month?
30 minutes every week and one discussion every month within the family, which can last up to 2-3 hours. 1 day in a month. That's more than enough.
And in those 30 minutes, what should you be doing every week?
You'll have to tune into the episode for that.
What is this? Teasers.
No,
okay. Give at least 2 ideas. What should you be doing in those 30 minutes? Like,
so 30 minutes, I'll give you 1, not 2.
Okay, fine.
One is as I was speaking about children, so many times we spoke about children or women or whatever. So anybody who is very new to finances, you can just Google out things, but what we ask Google is also very important. So at times we ask, which is the best investment in, so and so, which is the best scheme to put money on. So rather than asking those questions to Google, where Google will take analytics and give you answers, instead of that, build your immunity first. So there are a lot of financial regulators in the country. So by regulators, I mean for banking, we have an RBI, for markets, we have a SEBI, we have an IRDA for insurance, PFRDA for pensions. So all these regulators have a lot of consumer education material available on the internet.
Okay.
And it's very, very interesting. So RBI has its comics. Okay, so they have Raju and the Money Tree, Money Ladder. RBI has a beautiful museum in Mumbai. And same way as IRDA has its Bima Bemisal mascot, which explains all types of insurances. So many things. I mean, SEBI has handbooks as per your current level. So if you are a housewife, there is a separate handbook called Investing or Financial Education for Housewives, for working executives, for retirees. So all this is available. It's only that we feel that nahi, regulator ka website matlab notifications and circulars. So we never go there. So we want that shortcut, give me instant recipes, instant pizza and instant things. How do I get that instant things? So somebody comes and talks to me and says, this scheme, this scheme, this scheme. Put this much money every day. You will get this much money at the end of 6 years. Okay, done deal. So let's build up our immunity by reading this. And for reading this, you can spend 30 minutes a week and read little by little. That's how the podcast also goes. It is one sip of finance. So just do it little by little and you will get that pace automatically.
Should people do this thing that, okay, I'm giving myself 1 month or 2 months to become an expert in finance and I'm going to read about everything and I'm going to learn about everything. I'm going to talk about everything. Do you think that's a good mode for people who are listening to this podcast to start?
So first thing, let's not try to become an expert itself.
Okay.
Because just like I said, women are after perfection. So if she will think that, I want to become expert in finance, then she will never get it. So instead, let's evolve. Okay. And finance is something which is a lifelong learning subject. Okay, वो 7 जन्मों तक भी हम सीखेंगे तो it will not be enough because every moment, every day there's something new. Okay, so I've been into finance domain for 14 years, but I think I know 2% of finance probably. So it's a lifelong learning subject. So we just need to keep on, breaking our mistakes that we have been doing, not getting influenced unnecessarily, thinking that, so-and-so did this, so it will work for me also. Because our financial architecture is very different than anybody else. So we need to be more of architects than becoming experts. And that should really work.
Lovely. What are some of the big strengths that you see when a woman starts her finance career and investing career as compared to what men do?
Okay. So one big thing she has is she is very sincere in her finances. Like you just mentioned at the start of our conversation that, for a woman at times, they're very stingy about, putting things. They'll ask 13 questions, 31 questions, 300 questions, but they will get convinced first.
Do rupees ka dhanya is very important
exactly.
to be debated and discussed. And
yes. So that's that inherent quality and that's the managing capability that she naturally has. But the only problem is that there is no education. I mean, no school taught us how to manage our finances. No college taught us. There were some subjects which we just cleared for marks' sake. So we just tallied the balance sheet and said, okay, we'll get full marks in accounts. Or we studied equity, debt, something, but we are not well versed with what happens. So that one quality is this. The second quality is that she will generally, think of her family first before taking any decision. So no hard feelings to any men, or I'm not saying that men don't think about the family, but when it comes to levels, okay, so if the man is thinking this much, she will think this much. And she would rather think that, and her quality is that if I don't put it here and I put it in option B, then what happens? So she will always do that opportunity cost calculation, which is one more beautiful strength of a female. So she will never
Why
see
don't
and
men end up doing
lucrated.
that? Men also would end up doing opportunity analysis and
yeah. So as I said, it's levels. So they would do it. Maybe it is 49% and 51%.
So you're saying that women would probably agonize more about it than a man would.
Yes, absolutely. So she would generally do this. The third thing is, even after saying financial independence and stuffs, I would rather always vouch for a financial interdependence. So interdependence is where your entire family is involved in this. And as a woman, you are also totally involved in the entire decision. So if that happens, I mean, that is like, she adjusts to every family norms. So if the daddy has said you have to come home at 7 o'clock, she will come home at 7 o'clock. Okay. If something has happened, even if she's at workplace, her adaptability is her strength, and that nature has gifted it to her. So there's no gender bias here, but nature has gifted it to her. So that adaptability is also there, which makes it more easier for her to switch in case she is going wrong somewhere, or she will accept failures. It's only the fear that you said, because of which she's not able to accept it, thinking that what will the man of the house say if I lose money. But if that is gone, if there is family interdependence and stuff, she is going to make a beautiful financial architecture for your family.
Perfect. We're going to take a quick break. See you on the other side.
Hey, it's been another great week on the IVM Podcast Network. On Cock and Bull, Cyrus and Silvery are joined by Naveen Narona and Sriram Padmanabhan. Tune in to catch them talking about Elon Musk's challenge to Vladimir Putin for a one-on-one battle to end the Russia-Ukraine war. We have a brand new show on the network, Ek Chuski Finance, or a Sip of Finance, or Ek Se Financha. Why does it have so many different names? Because it's a very ambitious project that we're launching at IVM Podcasts. 8 different languages. This is a really special one. It's a podcast that takes into account a female-first perspective of finance and how to get the most out of your money. On Advertising is Dead, Varun talks to Malini Agarwal, founder and creative director of Miss Malini Entertainment. Their conversation takes us through the journey of establishing Miss Malini, how it began as a blog and eventually became an empire. On the Habit Coach podcast, Ashdin is in conversation with Roberta Hughes, founder and lead instructor, Peaceful Living, where they discuss how to add self-care into our daily routines. On Ikaduka Economy, Abhinav talks about how the war between Ukraine and Russia will impact India and the world's middle class. On Pulia Bazi, the hosts talk about the concept of one nation, one election. Do follow us on social media. We're IVM Podcast on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And remember, if you're enjoying this show or any of our other shows for that matter, please do tell a friend. Also, don't forget to rate us on any platform that you might be listening to us. You can also check us out on YouTube. We have a webpage, ivmpodcast.com/YouTube, where a list of all our channels are. And finally, we'd like to thank our sponsors this week, SBI Life Insurance, Bank of Baroda, India Water Portal, and Max Life Insurance. Thank you so much for making this possible.
Welcome back. All right, let's jump into the conversation. What about this whole aspect of you must have your own set of money? You don't know what's going to happen in the future if you're not earning, and if you have to have a divorce, and then, how do you plan that out? Do you have different bank accounts? Do you have one main bank account? Do you have hidden money separately? Like, are there certain best practices that you would plan for something like this?
Yeah. So best practices I don't think hidden money comes into best practices at all. So as I said, there has to be complete transparency within the family about this. So your entire saving, investing, insuring summary has to be with other family members and vice versa. So I think this starts with the men, because if they are primarily taking all the decisions of the family, if the woman is involved, automatically she will also start sharing things, because abhi that Gupta Dhan has come because there is no transparency in communication. Secondly, I feel that having our own money applies to a 5-year-old child also today, and an 85-year-old senior citizen also today. So wherever there is human, there has to be a human, kind of a saving for the all of us have those 3 seasons that I spoke about. So for all of it, it is required that, somebody has their own money. So for children, maybe we save for them till they become young adults or adults. And then, they do their own ways. So the same thing holds for a woman also, that she has to have her own money at all the times. There's no need to have a hidden thing there. It could be something like, many females do this, and this is a good practice. I'll not comment on best or not best. But the good practice is that, suppose if you're single, then you can have your own bank accounts, and there could be 2 or 3 bank accounts, which I've spoken in one of the episodes also about banking basics. This account can have a joint holder who is one of your family members, but you are the primary holder. Then there could be, suppose if you're married, then there could be one account with your maiden arrangement, where still you have your maiden home, some joint holder there. And there is one account where you have a joint holding with your spouse or with your any family member after your marriage. So that could be one nice balanced arrangement, because you are ultimately, we say that you are the Lakshmi of both the families. So this is like how, the Lakshmi is balanced at both the ends. When you invest, when you insure, when you save, probably, and get the name changed if you want, easy processes. So whatever, name change or no name change, however, I leave it to, but one name everywhere. So once that is done, what happens is both the family side, you are saving a little bit money here, a little bit here. You're investing a little bit here, a little bit here. So you are diversifying in a way. And diversification is always the best practice.
I think these are very nice ways of structuring out your finances. Even if you don't have done it so far, the best time to start is right now. So you can still start understanding, educating yourself about this. I think your podcast is going to be super helpful in people to understand these aspects of finances. Why do people not share about money? This is something that I find very, very strange, because I came from a family of business. So we used to, dinner table conversation was turnover and this kind of stuff. So then suddenly I went and met friends who would never talk about their salaries, and they had no idea how much their parents were earning. So why is there such a fear around it?
Okay, so there are lots of reasons for this. Let me give you some primary reason first. One is that, there's something called as a compounding cycle. So basically, what happens is, or let me call it, let me make it very easy. So my father's salary was some 145 rupees a month. So in those days, okay. And now if a postgraduate is starting, probably, a starting demand would be at least, I want a package of 2.5 lakhs an annum or something. So there's a huge sparkling difference here. Now, what happens is that your lifestyle is judged when you start sharing your salaries. Okay. And lifestyle preferences completely vary from family to family. Okay. For example, to make it very simple, maybe, I might feel that I don't really go for branded clothes and all. I'm okay for good designs and decent quality clothes. But I really want to, put a lot of money on a good vacation for myself. Somebody might think that, I don't wear anything below branded clothes. So I'm okay to put all my earning on branded stuff and all. I want a good watch. I want a good, blazer, and everything has to be like, it has to be classy. But my home interior is not really required to be very nice, because I hardly stay at home for a few hours. So why should I, spend so much on all that? So this is how, our lifestyle preferences change. Somebody, if you see an Udupi restaurant today, or a small restaurant, a small local stall, a roadside stall is also equally crowded as a nice 5-star, 7-star cuisine restaurant. So the thing is, because lifestyle preferences are different. So when it comes to discussing salaries or discussing incomes, people start judging, so you will judge me based on your financial preference. So if you are a branded clothes person, you will say that, array, she's earning this much and look at what she's wearing. If I am a person who likes घर का interior तो बराबर होना चाहिए, that paint में तो scratch नहीं आना चाहिए. So then I will say, my God, this person is earning this much, ये झूठ बोल रहा है. Because look at the house interior they have. So ultimately, I am judging you based on my financial and lifestyle preference, which is wrong, which is totally different. And this has been a norm, as a part of the society which we live in, because we always make judgments based on our preferences, our lifestyle and our societal norms, and where we come from, how we have been raised. So in that perspective, discussing money becomes always a very complicated challenge. And when a woman normally, moves to another family, so again, two families, two different financial architectures. So it's like, either she has to give in and say that, okay, you only manage my finances because my dad did it this way. You are doing it this way. So let's just leave it aside. Or she will say, I will do mine, you do yours. So my finance will be managed by my father or my brother, and you do your stuff. So that entire interdependence and everything goes for a toss then.
There are 2-3 things that I wanted to share from what you were saying while I was thinking about it. The first was, where you spend your money is so important. Right. And I don't know if I actually ended up doing the podcast. Was one of the podcast ideas that I had was on how to actually spend more money, and why spending more money is good on the 3 areas of your life that you actually spend a lot more on. So for example, some people, clothes is super important. increase the spending there because you find that and you enjoy it. But decrease your spending and all the other things that you're doing for society, for other people. Not necessary to spend there at all. So you have to choose where you find the most amount of value in your spending and double down on it instead of trying to reduce the places where you normally spend more. Oh, I spend so much on traveling, I'll just travel less. No, if you enjoy it thoroughly, travel more. That's what ultimately it's there for. That was one idea. And then the second thing I remembered was that, we were talking about maybe it's not your money, so you're conscious about it and stuff like this. I had a friend of mine who used to earn up to 2 crores a year, but still she did not focus on her finances. It was still outsourced to somebody else. And I'm like, this is your hard work that is there, right? Not a small number by any standard. What are you going to be doing about this? This is something that you need to know about. And you're absolutely right. She started from those steps itself. Okay, I will now start making the bill payments myself. And at least because of that conversation, these changes started taking place. Very often we don't have people to talk to. And how do we start these conversations with people? I want to know about finance. I want to know what to do with my salary. So I think we all have a responsibility to start talking about these things more. Sharing our earnings thing. This is what happened. This sharing our mistakes from the things that we learned in the past. Why should you make a mistake? You should learn from my mistakes that we did in the past. I think these are all very, very important habits that we need to start creating financially also while going ahead. I love it. Okay. One of the last few questions. What is one of the financial habits that women have that drive you crazy?
Drive you crazy.
Drive you crazy. Like, why do you do this?
Okay.
Like completely shock you and you want to like hold them with the shoulders and shake them up and say.
Yeah, so hiding money and preferring cash only. That, paisa mere paas hi rahe to hi secure rahega. That's the worst thing that females do with money.
Not using credit cards and stuff like that. What is your thought on that? I know so many people who say, no, Baba, I'm never going to touch a credit card.
Okay, so that's a personal decision. So that's not a good, bad decision at all. So if you are okay to pay next month over it, it's fine. If you are like, no instant payment, and no kind of loans and something. So credit card is kind of a loan that I'm taking, right? That I'm, taking a credit cycle for some days.
But you also have all the points and all of those kinds of things.
Yes. So basically, see, if I talk from economy perspective, the economy wants us to spend more on good lifestyle expenses. So, we used to have those canvas shoes, which used to be white painted, and we used to go for our parades. Now, if I want to go for a marathon, I would want a very nice branded shoes. So that canvas shoes was some 400 rupees. Today, this is 4,500, 5,000 rupees. So that's the lifestyle change that we have got. And every time, we go back to the same thing. Arey yaar, lekin wo 400 rupees mein milta tha, to how can I spend 5,000 on the shoe? So because of that, these credit cards and stuffs are like, to bring you in that lifestyle mode that, okay, I have to pay after some days now. So theek hai, let me just swipe and buy it off. So all this psychology is, being hit, and which is not bad at all. I mean, everything has a purpose of its own. So if a woman doesn't want to use a credit card, fine, it is a personal choice. If she wants to use it, it's a personal choice. But basically, she has to know where she's spending, why she's spending, how much she's saving, what are the 3 seasons of her life, and how she has planned them. And she's good to go.
And then it is fine. Perfect. Priyanka, thank you so much for coming on the Habit Coach podcast. I absolutely loved it. Tell us again how people can reach out to you. Where is your podcast going to be coming out, and how can they continue this conversation with you?
Okay, so I am thankful to IBM podcast app website. You can go and search for Ek Chuski Finance, which is a sip of finance. It's available in 8 languages. So it is English, Hindi, Gujarati, Marathi, Tamil, Telugu, Kannada, and Malayalam. And this is also available on all the major podcast apps that, any audio apps, any audio streaming apps that you use, you may use them for listening to this podcast. It's a bite-sized podcast show, so some hardly 7-8 minutes per episode, but we are touching upon small sips of finance. So every Tuesday, you will have a new episode in all the 8 language variants. You can choose your best preferred language. As far as connecting to me is concerned, if you go to Instagram, the ID is @Priyanka Acharya. And if you go to LinkedIn, which is my favorite, so at LinkedIn, you can go for Priya-Anka Acharya. So it is basically Priyanka Acharya, and you'll find me there. And there's a lot to discuss, there's so many things to do, so many stuffs to talk upon. I have recently released a book in Hindi which is called Lakshmi Gyan Se Lakshmi Man. So if you want to really respect the Lakshmi of your family, then give her the Gyan of finances, which is the Lakshmi of your family. So
what a lovely idea.
A lot of such things, lot of things done, and lot of things that I aspire to do. Thank you, Ashdin, because you reinforced my views on finance and reiterated, the concept of talking about finance, which is so important today.
Thank you so much, Priyanka. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Now, if you like this podcast, don't forget to check out other interesting podcasts on the IVM network. You can listen to us on the IVM Podcast app or ivmpodcast.com. You can also follow us on social media. We are at IVM Podcast on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to reach out to me, I am at Ashdin Doc on Twitter and Instagram. We have a brand new habit coaching online course, quizzes, videos, and a lot more on the website awesome180.com. So check it out now.
We know you love fast food,
Fast fashion,
faster payment.
lightning fast internet speed.
Then why not fast information?
On Think Fast, where we discuss the latest developments in the world of technology, business, marketing, pop culture.
With a side of sarcasm and my dad jokes, not just mine.
Not mine, Varun. My jokes are funny. So join me, guys, the funnier one, Suchita Salvan, co-founder of LBB.
And me, Varun Dugirala, the co-founder of The Glitch, as we think fast only on the IVM network.
Fresh episodes out every Monday.
On the IVM app, website, or wherever you get your podcast from.
We face 100 dilemmas every day while raising our children and nurturing our families. Why not let science help us make informed decisions to solve our dilemmas? Hi, I'm Devi Shobha.
And I'm Meghna. We host Big Talk About Tiny Humans, where we will help you unpack challenges around parenting and your child's development.
And more importantly, we will equip you with research-backed strategies that you can readily act on.
Tune in to our podcast every Wednesday on the IVM Podcasts app, website, or your favorite podcast platforms.